welcome along to another video in the Army Analysis series. We are continuing to look at armies in the Bronze Age stroke Iron Age. I'm using 1400 points, which is what we use in the league, so I thought that would be the most useful for you and especially new players. Today we're looking at the Sumerian 2500 BC list. There are two lists available, but the other one has light chariots, and I do like light chariots, but you only get about 4. So if you're fairly limited with the amount of chariots, I'd probably just go with the heavies. So we have heavy chariots here in this list. So that would be my idea anyway, to go with this list. And we're going to talk about the heavy chariot stroke battle cars soon. So this list is very infantry heavy. As I've said, we've got no light chariots, no light cav, no early cav, limited amount of heavy chariots. So you are going to be struggling at times, I think, to cover your flanks. But as you can see, I've got a rather large amount of infantry. I think I've got about 30 units, and we can discuss maybe changing it up a bit. But at the moment, I've gone for a large amount of infantry just really because of necessity, because we don't have a lot of options with cav and mounted troops, and probably that's just how you're going to win and play with this kind of list. Now let's talk now about the heavy chariots. So the heavy chariots, it's often quite useful to use them in the center of the line. It's a little bit like knights actually in medieval, although maybe they're a little bit more maneuverable than these guys, because these battle cars are unmaneuverable, so they can easily get flanked on the flank and harassed by light cav and so on and so forth. So quite often, because of their impact abilities, they are actually very good against infantry on impact. They're way up on the POA, and a lot of the infantry in this period is medium foot as well. So quite often you're going to get disruptions if you can get these guys intact without any disruptions and get them into impact phase against infantry of the period. Even heavy foot, they've got a good chance. So they're actually quite effective. You've just got to give them a good screen. That's why I've gone with some extra light infantry, I think, with this kind of list. And there is an argument also to be had. I've gone really heavy on the infantry, but I could take out some of this infantry, and I might well, depending on my opponent and the map, and probably I'd take more slingers, because we probably need a few more light infantry to harass the enemy and help us get into action with less disruptions. So that would probably be my idea. And as I've said, because we don't have a lot of options in terms of chariots and cavalry, I think spending extra on skirmishes is the way to go to kind of compensate. So even though I've got about 7 here, I might even go to 10 or so. I might well do that and just take a few units out. That would probably make sense. In terms of our infantry, I would split it fairly evenly, because we've got the spearmen. Now, they are medium foot, but that's quite nice in the sense of some flexibility, because the shield bearers are heavy foot, but they are defensive spear. So that is quite annoying. In my testing, it was even quite annoying when you had fragmented impact foot, or even some other units, disrupted units or whatever it might be, because they don't have any offensive capabilities, no POA when attacking. You can even get disrupted against fragmented impact foot or disrupted spear. So it's quite nice to have some offensive capabilities, even though they're medium foot. So that gives you flexibility on terrain, because obviously medium foot can fight in the open, can fight on the rough, and then the heavies just to hold in the open in the center. So it's nice to have a mix, and it's up to you. We've got flexibility. If you prefer offensive spearmen, you can take more of the spear, and if you want more heavies, then you can change it up. So that's quite nice. We've got a little bit of flexibility there. And if you like cheap infantry, which in this kind of list, because it's all about protecting your flanks, I might also add irregular foot. That's probably what I would do. And we have also got some raw spearmen. Now, I haven't talked about raw quality troops much yet, but actually they can be very effective, especially the spear version. They can often block off cavalry. I've been playing in the official tournaments, and some players use these kind of units quite a lot and quite well. You can use sneaky tricks like putting generals in and just backing up your regular troops. But against most cavalry, if they're spear, they will do a job. So in this kind of list, have a few on the flanks maybe, as well as a few backing up your main line. Obviously as well, this wouldn't be how I'd play with this army in terms of formation. I've just done it for the video. I'd have probably a longer line, much longer line, although this map there's quite a lot of woodland everywhere. But yeah, I'd have a longer line and less troops behind. So this is just for the video to see the units. But that is a bonus. 24 is a great price, and they're heavy foot as well. They're not medium foot, so that will help holding against cavalry charges and everything else. So that adds to the number. When we've got 30 infantry units, that is quite a swarm. And usually as well, I would say in this game, when you've got 30 plus units, most of the time it's pretty cheap medium foot. And yet in this army we have got some pretty decent spearmen. As I said, you can add more heavy foot if you wanted to. And I haven't talked about the picked spearmen. That is another bonus, to have 4 superior quality offensive spearmen. That is good in this period where a lot of the infantry is pretty weak. These kind of units can really do a great job against medium foot, mass bowmen. They would just go straight through them. So raw units as well. You want to, when you do use raw units, you want to keep them away from any superior quality units, because they won't last. So it's great to have 4 in this list. So even though we're limited in terms of cavalry options and chariots, I am going to go for about a B+. It's between B and B+. But I think because we've got quite a lot of light infantry options, I could take another, what would it be, 7 units if I wanted, tons more raw troops if I wanted, infantry even more if I wanted. Some people might well, it's almost 200 points for 4 units. You could get loads of raw and irregular foot for that price, and that might be a way to go depending on your opponent. It depends on your playing style. If you prefer to use, maybe just take 2, and that's almost 100 points. and then you could take or either 4 units of the raw spear or 3 irregular foot with 10 points over, or actually just less, but a few points over. So there's a few things to consider. Okay, so that is about it. Let me know if you've taken this army out. Have you been successful with this army? Did you take this list with the battle cars, or did you take the other one with the light chariots? Obviously, light chariots are more maneuverable. Even though they're the spear version, I prefer bow version. But as I said, the main problem being they're limited. For me, for light chariots, I prefer numbers. So I want 7, 8, 9, 10 or whatever, and then especially with the bow units, you can focus your fire on a unit and really get some disruptions before impact. But when you're limited in number and there's spear, I just go for the heavies. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching. I will also actually just add, if you like the video, give it a like, make a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again soon.